So we're all entrepreneurs. We know what the game's like, whether you're just getting started or your business is maybe just hitting a cash crunch. It's really, really great to have the strategies and the wherewithal to be able to get a cash infusion when you need it. So let's talk about cash infusion today. I'm going to introduce you to a special guest who's really well known for helping entrepreneurs get cash coming in the door. Hi, I'm Melanie Benson, and I'm known as America's leading small business optimizer. And this podcast is all about the little tiny tweaks that will help you put massive success into your business. So we're going to take things that are maybe not performing well or strategies that are ineffective, turn them on their ear, and give you a much better way to get to the success you dream of. Now, my guest today is Crystal O'Connor, and she's the founder of Moxie Entrepreneur and author of the book Unleash Your Moxie, which has been endorsed by Barbara Corcoran of Shark Tank and creator. And she's the creator of programs like the Rapid Cash Infusion, which helps entrepreneurs break down what it really takes to start a business online. So, Crystal, we went through all kinds of technical hell to get here today. We persevered. It's one of the things that we have to do as entrepreneurs, right?
It is. Problem solve and patience. Wow.
Exactly, right. The commitment to the end game gets us through it. So thanks so much for being here, though. I really appreciate it. You know, we've been dancing around each other in social media and all over the internet, and you were telling me that a lot of people confuse us at events, so we were destined to have this conversation today.
Yeah. Yes. Thank you for having me.
Of course. So there's so many things I want to talk to you about today, and one of my favorite concepts and strategies is the ability to make cash flow happen when we need it. Mm-hmm. And I would love to just start with a little bit about how did you come to the place where this was one of your specialties?
Because I needed to. I had no choice.
The necessity part, right?
Yeah, it was. So I was a single mom of 3, and there were several moments I said to myself, those aha moments that make you say that I got to do something different. So it was all about time with me. Yes. And getting my kid at the time that I started, they were in elementary school, and I've been in sales for years. So, and before that, education. So I've really kind of combined the two. But getting back to your question about cash flow, I needed to figure it out quickly. And so I was able to do it. I've had a lot of people, say you've got to have a job to fund your business. Well, I never did that. And I was able to do 6 figures in 9 months when I started my coaching business. However, so how is that different than, some people act so surprised by that. Well, how was I different? I have a personality and a mindset where I don't give up easily, but I also have the sales background. Mm-hmm. So, and I like to watch what people are doing and just figure it out myself. Now, I'm not saying that I figured it all out myself, because I watch other people's programs and learn from them, Allie Brown being one of them. But I once you learn what people need, you create the program and then you teach it and sell it. And so I really just had to bootstrap, and I had to, I guess with my sales background, having to make a sale quickly, I learned to do that for years. I had to do that. What I love about online business is that you can do it quicker than real estate. You can do it quicker and so the email marketing, the building the list. And once you have a list, you always have the ability to create the cash flow. You just put a plan together, and I've got a plan right here up on the wall actually for next month. And so I'll even sit in restaurants with my daughters. We were doing that yesterday actually, and put a plan together on a napkin. But it's all about the list and being able to do that from your computer. That changed my world. Yeah, it did.
So when you talk about the list, what you mean for those people that may be not familiar with that term is that when you put a list of people's emails together, you've gotten people to ask for information from you or share their email in some way. And so you've built up this community of people who want to hear from you and get more information.
Yes. So opt-in pages, that you connect to an Aweber or Infusionsoft list building tool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, is there in your mind a point in which you should start. I guess the question I want to ask is, if there's a clue, you need to start preparing for cash. Because you're kind of heading in the wrong direction. Like your cash flow's diminishing quickly, and you need to get a plan in place. Because I know some people wait way too long to deal with this problem sometimes.
They do, and it's all about the offers.
Mm.
And so even if you don't have a list, it doesn't mean that you can't find clients quickly. So you create a lead page, and then you create an offer. So it's really about knowing what it is that you want to sell. A lot of times it's, when I say knowing what to sell, knowing what you can teach them, and a large portion of what we do, Melanie, is information, and it's publishing. That's all it is. So you're publishing your information, your expertise, and you're packaging it. And then you are creating an offer. The offer is typically the best way to do it. And you know this too, Melanie, is to create something free. Have them get a taste of, so I've done so many free classes online over the years, and that's how I built my list. But even if you're starting out, I have a gal that didn't have a list at all and did my 30 days to Moxie program last month. And she ended up getting some of her first clients. So a lot of times it's about getting them on the phone, but she built a really small list of people. And then she wasn't afraid to create an offer and put them in a group program. Yeah. And made several $1,000s in her first month.
So can we go back to something you just said? Because I have a lot of people bring up this issue when we're talking about how to get money flowing in their life and in their business. And that is, I don't have a list and I don't know where to start, right? And so they are confused by, do I go on social media and just put some posts out, or am I supposed to ask people to promote for me? Like, there's a lot of confusion about what's, maybe we just say, the most accelerated path to getting those lists built up so that they really can generate some cash flow. What would you suggest to somebody who's just getting started? They don't really have a list, or they know they need to build it up.
Use leadpages.net. Is it .net? Yeah, I think it is.
Yes, .net.
I've used them long enough now. I don't even think about whether they're .com or .net. I would start an account with them, create an account, decide what it is that you're going to sell them, and you probably have some kind of an idea of what you can teach and what you can promote, whether it's in fitness. I mean, fitness and weight loss is a huge industry, and and that's for good reason. Because there's a lot of money in it and a lot of people need it. So that is a perfect example. If you are a health coach, and you don't necessarily need to be a health coach. I added fitness into my 30-day Moxie program because I've always seen that it's needed, the mind health connection. And so put up your lead page, have a free class teaching them health and fitness. Break down 5 takeaways that you can teach them in that class. If you want to be a dating coach, I had a client that wanted to be a dating coach for years and years. She was a speaker. She decided that she wanted to be, because she's had the experience. She's not, this certified dating expert, but she knew enough. And so she had this idea for the program. So she had her free call, and she had people get on the call using lead pages. So you could put a lead page up within minutes. They've got templates on there.
Yes.
And that can help you and guide you, which they did not have when Melanie and I started out, right, Melanie?
Oh no, these were manual.
Yeah, it's so much easier now. So that is, I could get carried away with my answer, but to keep it simple, that's what you're going to direct them to. But I guess, and maybe this isn't the part that you specialize in, but how do you get people to the lead page, right? Like, where do you find the people out there that want to opt in or get this free gift that you're giving? I've done Facebook ads, and that can be a little bit complicated.
Yeah, sold on to it first.
Yeah, it is. And so, because you're spending money, it's maybe not the best place to start. However, I did it and I survived it. I'm the type, though, that I don't necessarily, if I walk away from a situation, even if I spend a few $1,000s, I walk away not dwelling on the fact that I lost money. I walk away and say, okay, I learned something from that.
Mm-hmm.
But you can go onto Instagram, use hashtags to find your people. Go to Facebook groups. I find a lot of clients in groups. Okay, and start connecting with them and getting to know them. Have conversations with them. Go to Amazon.com. This is a fun one that I have some of my clients do. Go to Amazon and look at some of the books. If you're just in the beginning stages of what you're going to teach, look at the books in your industry, the authors, and then go down and look at people's reviews. So the people that are reviewing those books, and you're going to get feedback about those books, and that's going to teach you some of the language. It's going to teach you a lot about what people need. And then use that language and take that information and create a class using lead pages. Set a date, maybe just a few days out, and have a plan to sell a fitness program within the next 14 days, and make your first 1,000. And you're going to feel so good about that the next month you can double, triple, and you keep going as you build your list. Did that answer your question?
Yeah. Really what I keep hearing you come back to is this idea of a plan. And I think a lot of people put the plan in their head, and then the plan just kind of evaporates, right? So there's something really powerful about putting a plan together, right?
Yes. When you say it evaporates, do you mean that they don't implement? They put the plan together?
The plan is like whatever comes in front of them gets their attention, and they never really take action on the plan.
Okay. Action is the key to all of this. I can't tell you how many times, you've heard just getting into shape, the hardest part is getting to the gym, right?
Right.
It's the same thing with business. It's the same thing with anything that you're starting that is new to you or that's uncomfortable. So, I talk a lot in my Unleash Your Moxie book. I talk a lot about resistance because it's real. It's very real.
Very.
And habits are very real. Everything is a habit. So if you've created a habit in your life, and some people have done this their entire life, okay, where they've created a habit, and the resistance is, they've created a habit of not breaking through resistance. Okay. You can change any habit within 21 days. It's going to take some effort, which will likely lead you to need a coach. It doesn't mean you have to have one, but it'll be a lot easier, because support is a big deal. It really is. So you've got to make a habit of taking action on every step. So breaking down what you're going to do in day 1, what you're going to do in day 2. And then there's a lot of resistance, and it never fails. And I like to share this so that people know, okay, so it's not just me. Just like me doing this video and setting it up, we had technical difficulties. It's going to happen. Before my 30-day Moxie program, I've done it twice now. I think it was in July. July was the first program. Now I've done other programs, so I knew these things were going to happen, but this was a real doozy. The day before it started, my aunt passed away completely unexpectedly in her sleep. I had the show must go on, and so I had it all planned out, the program, and so but people. My point is, people will let all of those little things stop them, and then they'll think that the universe or God is telling them not to do it, and that is you're making. Again, this is part of the habit that you created for yourself, that you see things as signs to stop instead of signs to keep going and to break through. And, I didn't get just as these technical difficulties were happening today, Melanie, I could have just given up and said, oh, screw it. Right. But I didn't. And that's what I've had to learn over and over and over that. And I teach my kids this too, and I see they all three have very different levels of resistance, right? And patience. And I don't want to get into personality types, but I do love personality types.
And it plays very much into what you're talking about right now too.
Yes, yeah. It does. And so the mindset of I'm going to do this no matter what, and that is the mindset that has gotten me through everything. Mm. And sometimes you have to sit there and laugh at the things, the obstacles that are coming your way. And when you are able to do that and not be so emotionally attached to the outcome, and see, that's hard with cash flow. But when you're not so emotionally attached to the outcome, that's when things really start happening. Do you know what I mean, Melanie? Have you seen this in your...
There's an emotional, we get so attached to it having to look a certain way that we're disappointed if it doesn't look that exact way, even though you may have progress and results that are taking you into a very powerful direction.
Yes.
I've seen this over and over and over again in my life. And I finally started to realize, okay, it's the energetic alignment with the thing that you want the most experience, not necessarily it looks this way. I had a guy one time, and I don't know if you ever run into this. I had a guy who was a client who he kept getting really frustrated when I would have him get clear about his goals. And he's like, but what if the goal doesn't happen? I'm like, so what? So you've moved. You're somewhere that you're not now. He was very attached to it.
Yeah, there goes that action piece.
Yes.
So, you just have to keep moving and keep moving. So when you become sedentary or you let resistance win, that's when absolutely nothing happens.
Yes.
So, and again, the outcome, not being emotionally attached to the way it looks, or how you're going to get there, but just hitting that number, for instance. When I did my first, a good example is when I did my first group program, I thought, we always have these ideas of the way it's going to play out. And I thought, okay, I'm going to have 10 people, because that was my goal, 10 people hit pay. That's not how it happened at all. I had to have conversations with all of them. And again, that's another reason why it's good to have a coach that can tell you these things.
Right.
But sometimes, depending on the price point, a conversation is needed. So usually like my $97 rapid cash infusion program is kind of an entry level program for people to try out. And it doesn't typically take a conversation to sell a $97 program, but it does for a $6,000, for sure, a $6,000 or higher program. So just knowing things like that and knowing how to price your program and what might come of it. But this is another thing that I had learned through sales, many years of sales, that helped me with online business. Understanding that people need to hear from you several times, and everybody's a little bit different, but patience and then doing whatever it takes to get to that number and having that mindset will literally get you there. And then you can re-look and reevaluate what you did, what you liked, what you didn't like. So I think it's a lot of times people aren't willing to do that because it does take some effort.
Well, it also becomes confronting to people who have issues with selling, right? Or, maybe they've got a value issue with themselves. And so the minute you have to pick up the phone and talk to someone, you're now having an enrollment conversation. And I believe, especially, going through the money DNA process with so many entrepreneurs who their prosperity isn't necessarily whether they want it to be. I've seen one of the biggest things is your willingness to meet the client or the prospect where they are and move them through a buying process that works for the size of the program you're enrolling them in. And I think that's a huge point you just made. And resistance in you to not do what needs to be done is a reflection of, there's something going on in you that you have a block around money or success or receiving or something that you've got to tackle.
Yeah, we don't want to believe that that's it, right?
Yeah, it's easier just to focus on that thing out there, or I don't want to be that slimy salesperson or whatever label that we're giving that behavior that really truly is it's just a different kind of action.
Right. And then there are these different, well, you didn't necessarily ask me this, and it may be a whole different subject, but there are different levels and stages in your business. And so you could be doing really great and then need to switch things up, and it requires a leap. and a lot of the systems and a lot of things that you're doing. And then the resistance, that's a whole another set of resistance that you have to face. But getting through the sales resistance, I'm going to have my first teleclass. I can't tell you how many people have freaked out having their first teleclass and given up. One of my first clients, several times when she did her first teleclass or, the freebie call, she oh, I'm going to reschedule. I'm going to send them all emails and reschedule. I'm like, nope, you're doing it right now. I'm going to sit here and I'm going to make you do it. And now I don't get to do that with others because my clients are all over the world actually, but I've tried to listen to their calls, their first call, and be there for them. Now I've gotten away from that, but even on Skype, just knowing that I'm there and I'm going to push them and make them do it anyway is so helpful to them because they want to give up. It's very scary, especially if they see somebody on the call that they know. That changes everything. They will literally. I had a client in the past tell me that she started crying. Now, that has never happened to me, but it brings up emotions. But you know what? You are going to be completely different if you can get through that. All of that resistance comes up in many different ways for different people.
Yeah. What if achieving higher levels of success was more about changing your thoughts than it was about changing your strategies? Hi, it's Melanie Benson Strick, and I've got a quick resource for you. I want to give you a free copy of my new book, Rewired for Wealth. And inside this book, I'm going to teach you what I personally learned about how my thoughts were either sabotaging or setting me up to create success and put it on autopilot. Now, this book is free for a limited time. You can grab it now at rewiredforwealth.com. Now, let's get back to our program. You've brought up several times this idea of coaching people or being coached in your own process. And yes, there's a lot of people that are determined to figure it out on their own. But I'm kind of curious in your journey, and I want to get into that, like what has worked, what has helped propelled you the most. How important has it been for you to get mentoring and guidance to guide you in the right direction?
Well, it's been crucial. In the beginning, I didn't have a coach working with me one-on-one though. I bought home programs. I learned from home programs. Again, and I said this before, I think it was I wasn't afraid to ask for the sale. So because I had that experience before. Now it wasn't as simple because it was my own product. So it was a little different. Okay. Than selling somebody else, selling advertising, selling a home, when I did commercial property, selling a building, that's a little bit easier. Well, than selling your own product. So it brings up a lot of different fears, but, the home programs helped me a lot and understand mostly, I think what I needed most the help with, in the beginning was the technical pieces that get in the way.
The how.
So it's the how, understanding. Let me just throw some ideas out there that I can remember off the top of my head that changed everything drastically. Putting together a simple sales page, not a long drawn out sales page, a simple sales page, getting them, leading them from the call, the free call, to a strategy call. And then while they're on the strategy call, leading them to that simple sales page. Okay, I would send them to a domain name and I'd say, do you have your computer on? Go to that page. And then realizing they need 3 packages, no more than 3 packages that you have to offer. Okay, so having more than one item will help build trust, believe it or not. And then saying, I'm going to recommend, after getting to know your needs, the full Moxie. I had a package once that was called the full Moxie. So there was package A, B, or C. And I would say, I'm going to recommend that. And they would say, okay. So that changed everything. And it was almost like, just that system, that little piece, helped. And then having a follow-up email. So when I would have several strategy sessions in a week, you can easily forget to send somebody that follow-up email.
Mm-hmm.
But it's really important. And what should it say? You can easily confuse them if you give them too much information. So these are the things that I had to teach my clients that have helped me. And that is what I've learned through these home programs. And then I've learned a lot of other things through one-on-one coaching with my coaches.
So really it's about what steps to take to minimize the failure points and maximize the opportunity for success. And I think, that I think a lot of us could agree that having a roadmap of what's going to work really is a very powerful thing. And we both had that benefit from coaches along the way. What was the thing that in your own business you had to really, really, really get good at in order to be able to take your business into the six figures and beyond?
Oh my gosh, so many things. Okay, the sales conversation.
Yeah.
Then it became what I was going to teach them. Okay, this was a biggie. Not giving them too much information.
Giving them sales conversation, you mean?
Oh, actually, no. Actually, in coaching.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because they wouldn't do it.
Right.
And
too much at one time. Yeah.
Yes. So learning that less is more.
Mm-hmm.
It really is profound because I wanted to get, I wanted them to start getting the results they needed. So I was like always trying to figure out what it is that they needed me to say, what did they need me to teach, that get them the results. And I found that giving them less is best, and that almost all of them will come back. Well, let's say 80% will come back and want more information before they've implemented what I just told them to do. Mm. So training them to trust the process was a big one. And then I had to learn that. I had to learn that myself too. So coaching them. So first it was selling. Okay. So the sales conversation and all the pieces and the systems. And then it was, what am I going to teach them and how am I going to manage them? How am I going to manage them? And then, let me think of another one because there's so many, but which do I want to share? What to charge and charging a lot more. So stepping up my caliber or my, the type of client that I was working with, that I needed some coaching and help with that.
Yeah. I love that you just said that because I talk a lot about raising our standards in order to create change in our life and our business. And one of the best places to start is to raise the standard for the type of client you're willing to work with. And again, this is really goes back to, are you willing to raise your standards about your own worth and your own value? So it's the fastest place to get a cash infusion, right? Like being able to charge more means sometimes you just have to tweak the kind of client that can and will say yes to that.
Yes, and turning down clients. So getting back to that first question of yours, the whole cash flow. When you are used to not ever wanting to turn down a sale, it is hard to cross over and say, nope, not gonna work with this particular client because so learning to go with your gut. And then of course knowing how to have that conversation, bring them somebody else. I had someone wanted to work with me for the longest time, but then 2 times he didn't show up for the strategy session. So I was like, okay. Was sending messages on Facebook and wanted me to meet with him. Now I'm so over that. In the beginning of my business, people want to meet and pick my brain, and he was taking offense to me saying that's not how I do business anymore. Mm-hmm. So then, so we had the conversation. He was ready to go. His business was going to pay for 60% of the program. So he wanted me to drive over 45 minutes to meet with the people that are going to help pay for that. And so this went on and I was just like, no, sorry. They can call me. Yes, I'll have one more conversation with them. But I started saying no and he became upset. Well, he became upset because, and I was trying to teach him, this is what I'm going to start teaching you to do. This is what you need to start doing in your business. Okay. So as I'm saying no to you, I'm teaching you already. Well, he just didn't like it. So I finally said, if you want me to meet with them, then I need a retainer. Well, he did not like that. He said he would never do business with me because I said that to him. So he was in a place he was going to be stuck for a while because he did business face to face. He always did. He wanted to do what I do, right? Which is basically sell more and create more time. But then he wasn't. See, he wanted it, but he didn't. And he wasn't willing to learn and open up. So how did that help me? Me saying no, even though it was a little bit hard, because I don't like to be that way, and him getting upset with me. Especially women, right, Melanie? We do not like to think that a prospect is upset with us.
Anyone is upset with us.
or yeah, anyone. Well, I've gotten used to that over the years. That's not a problem for me anymore. But a possible prospect running to go tell people, oh, Melanie, isn't that a horrible feeling? Running to go tell people, oh, don't do business with Crystal because she won't meet with you in person. And so these things I had to get over, and everybody else has got to get over them too if you want to grow in your business. So it's just part of the growth process.
That's a great example. I'm really glad you shared it because I think a lot of people can relate to that. You know, our job isn't to contort ourselves to fit into someone's paradigm who wants to work with us. Our job is to get really clear what we do, how we do it, and do it in a way that is very powerful. And
yes.
Don't be afraid to say no to people who are trying to get you to contort, because here's the little secret that nobody tells you and that you're highlighting here is those people are always going to try to manipulate and overpower your process, and then you'll never do your best work. And you're always trying to figure out how do I fit in this person's paradigm. It's exhausting. I've had to let clients go because of that, and suffer through it the first couple times going.
And they don't. And they don't listen. They don't listen,
right,
and their objective a lot of times is to continue to struggle, but they want you to struggle with them.
Ooh, great insight.
And then they will most likely blame you for nothing getting done. Because they want you to do it.
Yes. So just to really pay attention to that sign that you're getting contorted, this person's trying to manage the process, and walk away before you go down the rabbit hole. Mm-hmm. So Crystal, we're kind of getting towards the end here, and I just, I'm getting to know that you're very powerful with the mindset side of things, and you have a great understanding of how we're creating our own realities all the time. What would you say is the go-to resource for you? Do you have a quote, or is there, a book or something that you turn to really help you stay tuned in to what the truth is about being a powerful coach?
Oh my gosh, so many books. I'm a reader. I'm looking at my bookcase over there now. I'm a voracious reader, and I always have been. In fact, even in elementary school, I was rarely paying attention to the teacher because I was reading another book behind the other book that I was supposed to be reading. And so, I don't want to say Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill, but I'm going to, because that one changed my life. A lot of books did. It changed my life. And you know what? I want to say something funny, and I'm really not just trying to plug my own book here, but this is funny. I've had people tell me that they've read my book. It's short enough and powerful enough you could read it, several times, and it's not like Napoleon. Well, I don't know what you heard and what you didn't. So I mentioned Napoleon Hill's book.
Mm-hmm.
And I mentioned my own book, and I was laughing because I wasn't, I'm really not just trying to plug my book, but my book is short enough and powerful enough where it, will set a fire under your tush. That's what it's meant to. And it's a little bit, sometimes there are parts that are kind of stern, but I've read my book and been seriously motivated.
Well, that's a great sign.
Isn't that funny though? But that's just human nature, right? We have our powerful moments and not so powerful moments. But, reading it reminds me that that's who I really am, So Unleash Your Moxie and Napoleon Hill's book, Think and Grow Rich.
Yeah, Think and Grow Rich is a great classic. And let's share with everybody where they can find Release Your Moxie. Is that what you said? Release Your Moxie. Unleash Your Moxie. Unleash Your Moxie. Where can they find Unleash Your Moxie?
It's on Amazon. So Unleash Your Moxie. And you just put that in the search bar in Amazon. If you wanted to go to, I do have a page where you can order it directly from me, and that is unleashyourmoxiebook.com. And but why not just go to Amazon? Oh, and there's a Kindle version on there as well.
Oh, perfect.
I do the Kindle. Yeah.
Perfect. So, what's the best place to find you and all your resources? Is that the best place to go to your book page, or?
Yes, if you want to go, so moxieentrepreneur.com is my main site. If you want to go and get on, if you want to jump on my list, I'll give you all kinds of fun goodies, okay? Tips and strategies. And I've had people tell me they've made thousands of dollars from my free stuff. You can go to moxiemoneynow.com. Moxie, M-O-X-I-E, now, moxiemoneynow.com.
Great.
And so, yeah. And I'm pretty sure you can get a free chapter of the book there.
Great. Well, Crystal, I think if they get even a fraction of the great inspiration and the awesome practical advice that you shared with us today, it would be a book well worth investing in. So I would invite you guys to go grab a copy of Crystal's book, Unleash Your Moxie. And here's why. You can take all the action in the world, but when the action you're taking is powered up because you're able to be a powerful vessel for the right kind of action, the work gets so much better. There is a unlimited energy that you can activate when you're being powered up by resources like Crystal's books. So grab a copy of Unleash Your Moxie. We've got the URL right here for you to make it easy. And Crystal, thanks so much for being here today. I really appreciate it. I know how busy you are with getting the book out and all of your great work that you're getting out in the world. So spending this last half hour with us, sharing some of this wisdom and inspiring people from my community is such a blessing for all of us. So thank you.
Thank you for having me. You're very welcome.
Yeah. So as you're listening in today, I always like to hear from you. What's one little tidbit, an aha moment, an insight that you can put into action and really help propel your own success? You can head on over to the show page at melaniebensonstrick.com. We're also on iTunes and Stitcher Radio. So if you caught me on the blog and you want to tune in all the time, you can just go to stitcherradio.com. All right, everybody. See you again next week for another really powerful episode of Small Business Optimizer. Bye.
Bye, Melanie.